my bicycle chain is broken. Can you help me fix it? Can someone help me fix the bicycle chain? You see, I grew up in Singapore, and I went to Yunnan province in China in 1996, and every day I cycle about 20 to 30 kilometers, and one day my bicycle chain broke. But not a problem, because in Yunnan, along the road, there are many bicycle repairmen. So I went to the first bicycle repairman. I say, can you fix my bicycle chain? He says, no, I don't know how to. I went to the second bicycle repairman. I said, can you fix my bicycle chain? It's broken. He says, I know how to, but I won't do it because it takes too long. I earn more money fixing tire punctures. So I went to the third bicycle repairman. I said, can you fix my bicycle chain? He said, I know how to, but I can't, because I'm just a small storekeeper. I don't stock expensive spare parts, such as bicycle chain. And so I went to the fourth bicycle repairman. I said, can you please fix my bicycle chain? And he said, sure. Give me some money, 25 renminbi. I will go and buy the bicycle chain. You can go and take lunch and come back in the afternoon. Yunnan is a beautiful place. Spent 15 years there. But that morning, as I stood there with my broken bicycle, in my mind, the same problems that I face with making my project sustainable was replayed out by the broken bicycle chains. Because sometimes we who start NGOs and charities, we are like sprinters. We have visions, we are implementers, but we don't really know how to make our project sustainable. Some NGOs will tell me, when they work in community development, there are so many difficulties in the farms, so many orphans, so many earthquakes, so many accidents. We just need to focus. We don't have the time to think about sustainability. Maybe next year, when we have more resources, right, in community development, we can think about sustainability as a spare part. I just want to share with you 3 lessons that I learned about sustainability in community development from the people that I work with, the minority tribes of Yunnan. It has to do with balancing expenses and local enterprise. I learned about nurturing people and then letting them lead. Just EPL. Easy to remember, right? English Premier League. First lesson, I was on this long overnight bus ride. In the mountains, it takes 12 to 16 hours to get anywhere. And then there was a landslide. I knew it would take another day for the bulldozers to come, so I said, I wanted to walk out. Now, this is in the middle of nowhere, so I thought. And suddenly, an elderly farming couple, they came. They came with a basket of freshly steamed sweet corn. I was very happy to buy it. I was hungry. They were happy to sell it. With such enterprise. And so I started walking, but because they were more nimble, they walked ahead of me. This was among the rice terraces. And all along the way, you could see that the mud walls were broken and water was flowing out. In my mind, I was thinking, it will cost so much money to repair the gaps, the holes. So this farmer was looking, and then he looked at each hole as the water was rushing out. I assumed he must be thinking the same thing too. Then he went to one place where the water was rushing out. He took the basket that was now empty, and he stuck it in the hole. And I asked him, what are you doing? Are you washing the basket? He says, no, I'm catching fish. He says, there will be catfish, there will be eels coming out. I say, yeah, enterprise. So I walked further down, and then I saw these village people, they were throwing stones. You see, they were throwing stones into the water. And I went up to them, I said, what are you doing? Are you trying to build a dam to block the water? They said, no, it costs too much money and the water is too strong. And I said, what are you doing? He says, see the road down there? It's flooded. There's a hole. If we throw small stones, we think the water will rush and push the stones down and help to fill up the hole, so that tomorrow we got to carry less rocks when we repair the road. As I was standing there, I said, here am I, brought up in the city, I keep thinking community development equals expenses. And I was learning that we needed to work with the locals, develop, encourage, and adapt from local methods. Lesson 2, nurturing people. This is especially important in communities, especially in Asia, where faith, pride, relationships are intricate and very important. We have to nurture emotionally healthy teams that will work with each other. I take teenagers, disabled teenagers, for picnics. And Yunnan is a place for flowers, blue skies, beautiful flowers. And we went to a park. And I had to just get the kids to talk with me. And I asked them, can you just go to the park and pick something that represents your life and tell me about it? So there was this girl that had severe kyphosis, very hunchback, one good arm, and she took a blade of grass from the ground, and she told me, Dr. Tan, this represents my life. And I say, why? How can this piece of grass represent your life? And he says, when people come to the garden to look at flowers, they step on the grass. We disabled people get trampled on all the time. I felt so sad. But she saw my face. She said, 陈医生不要紧. Say, Dr. Tan, it's okay. It's okay. I said, how can it be okay? She says, look at the flowers. Do you think the garden, the roses, the camellias will be as beautiful if there was only rocks and mud and gravel on the ground? I said, no, the park would not be as beautiful if there was no grass. And she told me, say, it's all right then. Since I know I have friends who love me, I have people who care for me, I know that God loves me, it's all right to be stepped on now and then. When we work in community development in poverty-affected regions, people are our prized assets. When we love and care with them, when we share the journey with them, these people help us to overcome the tough realities of poverty and disability. Lesson 3, let the people lead. So when to balance enterprise and expenses, when to nurture the people, they can lead. Let them lead. This is the Nujiang, the Salween River, the angry river, 16 hours bus ride from where I live. And once you get off the bus, you just walk up and up and up to the village. 4 to 6 hours hike. And I was visiting a Lisu farmer. So you cross the river by a zip line, and you go on these muddy slopes. And when I was seeing him, he was planting corn. And I noticed that around every corn seedling, he surrounded it with some bamboo leaves. With other corn seedlings, he used a bamboo stem, and yet with other corn seedlings, he used some dried twigs. This is manual labor, one by one. So I asked him, I say, why do you surround your corn seedling with these bamboo leaves? And he told me, I do this to prevent the rats from eating the corn seedling. I was like, so amazing, right? But then I'm a skeptical city person. I asked him, does it really work? And he looked at me, he says, if it doesn't work, do you think I will break my back year after year to do this? And I felt so embarrassed and stupid for asking the question. Then I gathered my wits. Then I asked him, you have several methods. Bamboo leaves, bamboo stem, dry twigs. Which is the best method? And he He's shy. He knew he was illiterate farmer and I'm the doctor. He hung his head down very quietly. He says, "Doctor, the best method to prevent the rats from eating the corn is for the corn to grow up strong." So deep and yet so profound that we learned to hand over to national teams a budget that they can handle. High expenses kill sustainability before it starts. It's like my broken bicycle. We nurture the people and we let them lead. So enterprise, expenses, nurture the people and let them lead. I just end with this story of oral rehydration solution, ORS. In slums, in poor areas, diarrhea is number one killer among the babies. In my time in Yunnan, I had excellent volunteers from Hong Kong, from Toronto, from UK, from USA, Singapore, and these doctors come. And we tell them, childhood diarrhea is number one killer. But you have to keep your expensive medication at home. We make our own oral rehydration solution. A pinch of salt, some sugar, clean water, you stir it, low cost, saves lives. And then I tell these city doctors, I say, if you make oral rehydration solution correctly, it tastes like a teardrop. Almost always, the city people ask me, what does a teardrop taste like? Whenever we run our village hygiene classes with mothers from poor families, and we tell them, if your baby has diarrhea, make ORS, a pinch of salt, some sugar, water. And if you make it correctly, it tastes like a teardrop. And almost always, the mother looks at me in the eye and says, I know what a teardrop tastes like. My friends, we live in a deeply divided world, divided by income, inequality, divided by race, religion. And I learned in my time in Yunnan that I'm divided among people who don't know how to cry or who refuse to cry, and people for whom tears are normal. There are methods, strategies, budgets to ensure and promote sustainability. But sustainability is a matter of heart. It is not just methods, but motivation. This ancient Chinese poem, so ancient that we may not know the source. And Lao Shu said, "Go to the people, live among them, love them. Start with what they know, build on what they have. But for the best leaders, when their task is accomplished, their work is done, the people will remark, we have done it ourselves." So for me, I look forward to the day when the bicycle repairman will tell me, I know how to repair the chain, I have the tools, I have the parts, and I will do it. And that begins for me as a foreigner in the community. Perhaps it's time for me to start my journey home. Thank you.